Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So, okay, we are live now, and we are back for another session of the knowledge sharing series promoted by Health Travelers Worldwide and supported by Nat Health Healthcare Federation of India. The objective of the knowledge sharing series is to bring credible medical information to the public at large through enriching conversations with renowned experts from across the world. I'm your host, Dr. Gayatri Ghadiok, and a little bit about myself. I did my MBBS from Christian Medical College, Ludhiana, and MD from Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi. I worked in histopathology and hematology for more than 30 years, and then switched to hospital management as part of the founding team and medical director for Fortis La Femme, the first comprehensive facility for women's healthcare in the country. I then joined the World Health Organization, where my focus was on public health, program development, and quality assurance in the Asia Pacific region. A few years ago, as a WHO consultant, I joined hands with the Ministry of Health in Kerala to establish systems for quality blood transfusion services. In addition to healthcare, I am also the chairperson of a non-profit NGO called Rohini Ghadiok Foundation that works in the field of education, providing for underprivileged students. Given my work and areas of interest, I am particularly pleased to be collaborating with Health Travelers Worldwide and healthcare professionals to discuss relevant issues that we are faced with at this time. Health Travelers Worldwide is an NABH accredited health advisory firm that helps critically ill patients seeking quality healthcare services. It works independently to provide prospective patients with personalized advice and support through its dedicated medical advisors. Over the years, it has built a highest level of trust and confidence amongst over 7,000 patients, besides working with some of the top insurance companies, ministries of health, and international NGOs. I have the pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Ryan Fernando, nutrition architect and health coach. Ryan is a celebrity nutritionist, a certified performance nutrition expert, radio jockey, author, and the founder of Qua Nutrition Clinics with presence in major cities across India. He is from Goa, but currently based in Bangalore. Don't let his youthful looks deceive you. He is a British Commonwealth scholar with 2 Masters of Science degrees, including one on food technology from the University of Strathclyde in Scotland. And he's currently doing a a health coaching certification from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, New York, and an IOC Sports Medicine diploma from Geneva, Switzerland. Ryan's mantra is sports and fitness nutrition, and his list of clientele is very, very impressive. In the past, it has included Bollywood celebrities like Amir Khan and Abhishek Bachchan, cricketers Yuvraj Singh and Harbhajan Singh, and Olympian medalist wrestler Sushil Kumar. His current clients include cricketers Shikhar Dhawan, Rishabh Pant, and also golfers Shubhankar Sharma and Vijay Madappa. Ryan is the author of the book Eating Secrets of Champions, based upon his work and inspiring stories of nutrition successes with sports people and athletes. Please ask any questions you may have on the subject and share them with us in the comment section. We will try and take as many as possible. Ryan Fernando, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri.
Could you please share with the title of today's show is Roadmap to a Healthy Lifestyle. You know, I've been thinking of some precise questions to ask you because of what we've all gone through in the past several weeks. But everything that came up felt a little forced. So maybe it's better if we address it right away. People are out. The coronavirus positive numbers are going up. Social distancing is not strictly followed in many parts. What are your thoughts? How should people keep themselves healthy in terms of nutrition, exercise? What should they do?
So, Dr. Gayatri, all of us are in the same, we live on the same planet. We have this bug, as I call it, the coronavirus, and we haven't found the bug spray to kill it, technically. But I do believe evolution has given us certain tools that if you see only about 5% of the global population is dying, and those with comorbidities are more prone to it. Comorbidities, as everyone knows, is if you have diabetes, hypertension, lung problems. They're also identifying a certain gene, the angiotensin 2 gene, which is more susceptible. So I think next in another 10 days, we are launching at our clinic the actual COVID genetic report in terms of, are you more susceptible to be attacked by the COVID virus? But that apart, let's talk about the immune system.
It's
I
like
believe
the
the
like it's like they're saying some of blood group A positive people are more susceptible.
Yes, because all of these are related to your the protein that is synthesized from your mRNA, and your mRNA reads off your DNA. So obviously your blood group is encoded into you. So they are trying to find out statistically, as well as, is there certain data available that a certain segment of the population, whether it's the A positive blood group, or whether those who are meat eaters are more susceptible, or those who have the angiotensin 2 gene. Having said all of this, they still haven't found a cure. So it's your immune system that needs to be bolstered during this period, because I believe that if you go out and maybe one or two pieces of the virus do tend to come close to you, your T killer cells, your lymphocytes and all go into red alert and try to kill this. Because this is what people don't understand. Your immune system for thousands and thousands of years have been protecting you before we had vaccines and before we had antibiotics. So I would say that in this time, look to your immune system, and can you boost your immune system. So the biggest problem right now is, yes, I can ask you to take tulsi, I can ask you to take amla. I love amla because it's 7 times more powerful than spirulina for its antioxidant content. So when we have traditional things like the turmeric and amla in our diet, why we should add it every day. I also look at things like garlic. I also look at things like resveratrol. Resveratrol is purple color pigment found in grapes. So if you're diabetic, you can't eat grapes. So I'm a little pro right now on supplementation, because I have been working for quite a period of time, about 15 years now, with patients from nutritional practice, and getting people to change the way they eat is extremely difficult unless they're an Amir Khan, and they're getting 5 crores for a certain scene, and their body has to look in a certain way. But a normal person would, Dr. Gayatri, not want to change their body. So then you're like, okay, why should we eat that way? So in this trying time, we have seen a lot of people turning to nutritional supplements, things like ashwagandha, brahmi, tulsi, amalaki. So these are things that I believe will bolster your immune system, but there's nothing like your eating well. If you eat
Right.
properly, and the WHO, there was one paper released saying that people consuming more amount of sugar. Now sugar is coming from your processed foods, high carbohydrate foods like rice, chapati, and alcohol. These are high sugar foods. So there's your immune system goes into a defunct mode with higher sugar in your body. So
Goes to
the
sleep
so
basically.
yeah, so basically, I think for just general purpose, for everybody who's listening in, the simplest thing you can do is increase your vegetables, increase your protein, but drop your carbs, which you actually technically don't need. Like, look at you and me. We're locked up at home. The last week I've done not more than 4 kilometers. The only exercise I do is a structured exercise. So the requirement of carbohydrates is not for people like you and me who are desk jockeys. We use only our fingers. So our rice, if it's this much quantity from our ancestors, then they ate this much dal and they ate this much sabzi. What I say is, turn it on its head. If sabzi for our ancestors was this much, now you make sabzi one full bowl. If your dal was a small katori, make dal a bigger bowl. And if your rice was this much to your ancestors, now we should eat only this much of rice. So
Okay,
if you change,
can I interrupt about dal, since we're talking about dal?
yeah.
You know, Indians believe that one of their primary sources of proteins is dal. However, if you look at the nutritional values, there are many sources that say that dals are very high in carbohydrates. Can you clarify this for our viewers and for me personally, so I can finally put this at rest? You know, we have this argument at home all the time, my daughter and myself, because I tell her dal is high protein, and she gets information from different websites which break down the food structures of food, and they say dal is very high in carbohydrates.
So if you take mung dal, if you take tur dal, if you take masoor dal, if you look at all of them, none of them cross a 8 or 9% quantity of protein in it. So what's the remaining amount? The remaining amount is the water. Remaining amount is the carbohydrate. So this one would go to your daughter in terms of the dals not being high protein. But here's the fact of the matter: when you eat a dal, you're consuming a good quantity of very biologically available dal. Number one. Number two, I believe as a nutritionist, the vegetarian version of protein is far more digestible and available to the human body with lesser inflammation. Third point, if you're not a Sushil Kumar and you're not lifting heavy loads and weights, the human body requires only about zero point 0.8 grams per kg body weight. So this concept by the West and by leading marketing companies and supplement companies to take more protein, to consume more protein, the common Aam Aadmi is saying that, okay, let me then bump up my natural food source. So if you're a vegetarian, you suddenly feel you're on the defensive because, like, hey, besides chana, rajma, maybe tofu, soya, there's not something that's packing a power punch like your meat eaters who have egg, which has very dense protein, and meats, red meats and white meats, which are very dense in protein. So that's where vegetarians tend to feel they're on the back foot. I say, if you're not into high intensity physical activity, the entire Indian subcontinent has been vegetarian for a very long period, and we have had lesser incidences of heart disease and diabetes in the former century. Now, because we are getting the processed foods and we're eating polished rice, and somebody saying you're not getting enough of protein, there's this whole debate thrown in. I believe the question is not how much of protein you need to have. The question should be get good quality protein in you.
The
And the
type of
dals,
protein.
yeah, and dals, if they're kind of tossed around like rajma chawal, if you look at the amino acid profile of rajma, it's missing one amino acid, lysine, which is found in rice. So when you combine that together,
A
it's a
good
perfect
combination.
it's a perfect combination. Now people for centuries knew this, and then us nutritionists, we go like, whoa, that's a complete food. So I think if you're losing protein, it can be detected in a blood test. It can be detected in a loss of body muscle percentage. So then you need to bump up your protein. But if you're living well, your energy is good, you're not gaining fat percentage, and you're hale and hearty, you don't need extra quantity of protein.
Right, right. So, now there are these two current fads.
Hmm.
One is eating small but frequent meals, and the other one is intermittent fasting. Now, people have seen good results in both groups and swear by them. What do you think?
Oh, this happens in my household every day. So, my belief as a nutritionist is that no one size fits all.
Right.
You've got to try. But both are correct. Eating small meals. I'm a person who does small meals more frequently because I can't eat big meals because I've got a very tiny stomach. So for me, I've tried doing intermittent fasting, but I get headaches. So maybe that doesn't work for me. My wife, on the
Okay.
other hand, does intermittent fasting and just does 2 meals a day, and she's lost more body fat percentage than she's ever lost when she was on her husband's nutrition program. So she keeps telling me, "Oh, you're useless, big shot nutritionist. You couldn't figure out that intermittent fasting was the working for me
Ryan,
because."
be careful. You're on air, okay?
Yeah, yeah. After the last live that I did last week, she's like, "Okay, no food for you. You go and get it from the kitchen yourself." But jokes apart, what I'm trying to communicate is that I name my clinics Qua Nutrition. Qua in Latin means incapacity. So I tell every person, discover your capacity. Discover whether eating a meal early morning sits well on your tummy, sits well on your brain. Next day, 24 hours later, how's your potty? Next day, after eating the morning breakfast, when you wake up in the morning, do you have to clear mucus out of your nose? So if you have to blow your nose, there'll be some guidelines saying that, oh, intermittent fasting works really well. And then once you get into it, do I fast in the morning half or do I fast in the evening half?
Right.
So some
So
people will
listen to
get
your
up.
body.
Listen to your body, I think, is
Listen to your
is
body.
the most important thing that you should do. I believe intermittent fasting is the right thing for 90% of people who are overweight because of their insulin resistance. So if you're looking at a blood test, you have HbA1c high, you have insulin resistance dominating in your blood test, your fasting blood sugar level is high, C-reactive protein inflammation markers are high, you're a perfect candidate for intermittent fasting because there was about 3 years ago, there was a Japanese doctor who won the Nobel Prize in medicine for fasting and the
Yeah.
spring cleaning that happens in a cell. So I think simple logic, go back 5,000 years ago, we didn't have Swiggy, we didn't have Zomato, we didn't have fridges, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have farming that gave us year long food. So we did seasonality fasting or famine fasting, whatever it is, and maybe your lifespan was lower. But all research is today pointing out in labs that rats that are fed a lesser diet live longer. So you want to figure out whether you want to be beefy and I believe live shorter, or be lean and fast and live longer. So do a blood test, look at how your tummy feels, look at how your brain feels when you get up in the morning, and then that would be the correct nutrition plan. And above all, I tell people work with a nutritionist. And if your nutritionist is telling you do only this, then you're not working with a
With
nutritionist
the
that's
right nutrition.
willing to expand their thinking to your
Exactly.
genetics and your qua.
Then you should change your nutrition.
I think so.
Yeah. So, talking about people's lifestyles, in the last couple of months, lifestyles have changed. So there are a lot of, for example, there are a lot of very enthusiastic gym goers. They're sitting at
Mhm.
home now. They're not able to follow their gym routines. Gyms may have opened, but they're a little apprehensive about going back. How do they maintain a balance in their lifestyles?
So this whole concept of gym has come up because man has been lazy. Why man has been lazy is because there's a concept known as NEAT. I think a lot of gym owners might not like me for this, but NEAT is called non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis. So researchers found out that when we have a heart rate very low, we actually use fat as a substrate medium. Simple English, imagine your body is a cellular phone. You have two batteries in this cellular phone. So when you do any physical activity, one battery is fat, one battery is carbohydrate. When you do high intensity exercise, you use carbohydrate as a predominant source. When you do very low intensity, you utilize 70% as a fat source of energy. So gone are the days where we do our own jadu pocha, cooking, cleaning, drawing water from the well, which actually causes this neat non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis. As a result, boss, we have domestic help, we have all of the things, and also we are very hoity-toity. So then I go to the gym for 1 hour because that trainer has to flog me, take my heart rate really up, and in 1 hour burn 600 or 700 calories. That mathematical balancing equation of lack of calories is what pushes you towards a weight line loss. And then you come to people like me, oh, celebrity nutritionist, iske paas jane ka hai, take a diet from him, he'll kind of compress the calories, and then you got negative calories from exercise, negative calories from diet, and then obviously because of negative, your body's running like, okay, let's burn some of this off. So I believe the gym is a condition that was created, but it's a good thing because if it was not there, people would be dying left, right, and center from heart disease, blocked arteries,
Obesity, yeah.
diabetes, obesity, hypertension. We are the diabetic and the hypertensive capital of the world. So that kind of gives us an insight to how lazy we are. And this lockdown period has shown that people truly are really, 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 lazy. There's only about maybe 1% or 2% of the population that really works out. So
So these people, if we are talking about these people who are now stuck at home and they can't go to the gym, how do they maintain their nutritional balance at home? What should they do?
So one, I have very well explored this in the last 3 months with a lot of my clients, wherein we ask them to skip one meal a day. So almost
Okay,
like of intermittent fasting, because
fasting.
you're now doing lesser gym workout, you're doing lesser traveling to the office, climbing stairs, going for that tea break, walking up and down, and we actually saw this on people's exercise variables, wherein if they were doing 10,000 steps a day in the first 10 days of the lockdown, it dropped down to about 1,500 steps a day. So that colossal 90% drop in doing the exercise, we decided that we can't just do it by doing a simple diet. So we said, okay, like, let's do one thing. Can you skip breakfast? Can I just have a tulsi tea at that time? Can I give you some cucumber or a vegetable juice, and then you don't have anything? So when you get up in the morning, work out on an empty stomach. So your body's in starvation mode and you're working out. And here's the thing, this is not meant for elite training like marathon runners and sports people, but somebody like Shikhar Dhawan and Robin Uthappa, I put them on the fasted training because we saw that they were burning fat. Yes, they lost some amount of muscle, But in an overall thing, I would rather have that than them gaining fat percentage or my client gaining
Right.
fat percentage. So the simplest thing would be to do is to skip that meal, replace it with non-carbohydrate meals like green tea, black coffee, something known as branch chain amino acids, which is a type of protein, but it's a pure protein, maybe just 2 or 3 grams. Drink a lot of water. One
That's
secret
true.
that I personally discovered is tulsi leaves. So I have tulsi growing all across my terrace. So I used to get up in the morning at 7 o'clock, water my entire terrace, and that would take me about 1 hour.
So
Shift pots this side.
is this a simple green tulsi, or this holy basil, right?
This is holy basil, but
Yeah,
I've got the three different varieties: cinnamon
the
tulsi, I've
black
got
one
lemon,
also,
and the purple one, the Krishna tulsi.
purple.
But any
Yeah.
one of them, I've seen when you put in your mouth and chew it and you're watering your plant, when you come back, you're not hungry. Then I would get hungry. I would chew another two leaves, and for the next 1 hour, the hunger pangs would disappear. That's one option. Second option
Okay.
is get chewing gum. Pop
Mm-hmm.
chewing gum. You could chew chewing gum. The idea is to delay your body in eating till about 12:31 in the
Right.
afternoon, so that the fasting allows your fat to be utilized in that morning period. A lot of people got acidity, so I said, okay, this is not working for you. Then maybe what I need you to do is I need you to add more cucumber, more carrots, more green leafy vegetables. And a good part is people automatically lost weight, Dr. Gayatri, because they stopped eating out. When we
Right. I
eat
think
out, 90% of our food is made with palm oil. If you and I start a restaurant, we're going to be telling the chef, hey, we are medical guys. We want olive oil. We want the good pufas. We want the good mufas. And that guy's going to buy the cheapest oil on the planet and put it in his cooking and then use masala gisala to flavor it. So I think this has been the number one thing. I don't know if you watched there was an article about a week ago. Global consumption of sugar is the least in 50 decades.
well, the best thing that's happened to us as a family is that we have stopped going out, and now friends are asking, "What are you all doing in Delhi?" My friends from Bangalore, and I said, "There's nowhere to go now because our restaurants are still closed," and that's been the biggest blessing.
And if you see most of this portion servings, like if you go to most restaurants, to give you value for a single portion dish, it's not like the European concept, which is, you have a fixed set and it's only
Yeah,
a
you.
portion serving meal and you go through the
Yeah.
whole entire 8 course or 9 course. And so in India, we're thinking, okay, only main course and we eat it. But your main course is like a European 12 course. So my point being that a biryani, if you actually see, for a man who does not do any exercise and sits as a desk, you just need 3 tablespoons of biryani for metabolic survival.
Three
For relish,
tablespoons.
three
Okay.
tablespoons for relish, for the taste bud pleasure and stuff. Chalo, TK by 6 tablespoons. But a good biryani in any good restaurant is nothing less than 20 tablespoons, and you will eat that.
Yes.
So that excesses once a week, twice a week, plus no workouts, it just pile on the looks of fat on your body. And I think one thing about our country is that aesthetics is not something that's fondly chased after. Indian women
Yes.
don't look after their health after they have their first, second pregnancy. So women turn from a slim silhouette figure and they move into just barrel figures. Men
Things are
abdominal.
changing a little bit now amongst the younger people. They are becoming a
In
little bit more conscious, but I think at the expense of their own health, they're starving. A
I
lot of
think
people are.
Yeah, I think the younger generation. You're absolutely right, Dr. Gayatri. Is actually more tuned to the internet, more tuned to life, more tuned to knowledge and stuff like that. They're aesthetically more inclined to look better because of the selfie generation, pictures
That's
that you
true,
put out there, and all of that stuff. Uh,
but they're
but
not healthy necessarily.
Not necessary, but for every person that's doing the wrong thing, there'll be 5 people out there who do the right thing. And I think that's why people like you and me, when we do our lives and all, people check in and clock in because they are wanting to, change the way they eat, change the way they work out, change the way just they live in terms of from an healthy aspect.
So there's another group of people who, in the last couple of weeks, who become very, very active physically. They're doing these YouTube exercises, and I don't know if you've heard about the Miracle Miles and the Walk programs. And it is, and they've lost a lot of weight. How do they maintain this? How do they sustain this once life goes back to normal? with the again related to diet and the
There's no
exercise.
rocket science in this. Absolutely. There's absolutely no rocket science. I always tell this. You eat out of love and culture. The, the population has to realize this. Just put a little bit of science. You need to know your weight. You need to know your calorie consumption as a BMR, which is called the
Right,
basal metabolic rate, and how much expenditure. So let's say I burn 2000 calories a day. My BMR is 1600, and I require 400 calories for all my metabolic activity. If I fly under the radar, under 2000 calories, my body is never going to go into a weight gain. So in this period where you've lost the weight, you've done all of this great counting the miles and lost 5 6 kgs, intermittent fasting, and you're going to go back to eating out, you're going to go back to your normal 9 to 5 job, get stuck in a traffic jam. The one tip that I would give everybody is know what is the amount of calories you require for your body. So then break that up into 2 or 3 meals a day. Reduce it with your dietitian into the ratios of protein, carbs, and fats. Get a little more scientific. And maybe if there are, let's say, 4 meals a day into 7 days, 7 fours are 28. So out of 28 exposures in a week, you go out on the weekend for 2 or 3 exposures, but 25 exposures, you're
right.
scientifically accurate, you're bang on. And I think that mathematically will keep you on the right track for the next 10, 15 years. This is the thing that people have not done. They get jobs, they start sitting at a desk, they start getting more money, they start eating out, they get the pleasures of life by 30, 40. Children are born, everything's done, they settle in school, keep eating, alcohol, beverages, blah, 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 blah. Your petrol tanks expand. Suddenly you wake up at 45. I need to go to this celebrity guy, Ryan Fernando. He's done Amir Khan's six pack in Dangal, so we need to go to him. So people come to me and I'm like, listen, the film star did 8 hours of exercise a day. Can you do 8 hours of exercise a day? No, you don't need to do that. You just need to get scientific data in you. What's your calorie expenditure? What's your calorie consumption? You get this done. I think there is no rocket science. Anybody on the planet can have an amazing health.
So, Ryan, you have a lot of these apps that help you keep a track of what you eat and, count the calories that you consume. What do you think about those? And a lot of them are now also tuned towards Indian diets. They will calculate the calories in rajma chawal and your karela and bindi.
So I've had the privilege of, I have a very proprietary software in my company, and when we launched and everything, we had this ability to use technology to our clients. But over the years of counseling thousands and thousands and thousands of people, because I sit, I talk to them, I deliver the diet chart, I'm on the phone call with them. Indian people want to be with a guru. They want a teacher. They want somebody to talk to. This app and all is only a small segment of the population who are engineers and tech geeks. I have people, they'll download the app, they get the Fitbit, they're enthusiastic about it for 3 weeks. There are various brands out there. There's Goki out there. There's MyFitnessPal. There's Garmin now. There's Fitbit. So many guys out there that are doing the tracking of calories, tracking of steps, and all. My viewpoint as a nutritionist, it's an excellent tool that a professional can have, but I believe you need a coach. It's almost saying like, Dr. Gayatri, if you wanted to learn to play the piano, there's YouTube videos that teach you how to play a piano. But being an Indian, you would pay somebody to come and teach you to play the piano because you feel that you've been brought up in that classroom methodology. The current youngster generation, my son's generation, who's going to be exposed to this online learning and classroom learning, 20 years down the line, when they grow up, they're going to be more technology savvy. They're going to want to not waste time with people, with coaches. And they're the ones who are going to say that, you know what, I just need. So my son will get up and say, he'll put his hand in a computer and say, good morning, Mr. Icon. It's 20:30 right now. It's a bright, sunny day. Your creatine kinase levels are very high after yesterday's workout. Please do not consume any meat products today. Please have 8 hours of sleep today. That's it. That's going to be the future. So the apps are going to work for you and stuff like that. But I think you would agree with me, medical technology wise, it's really helping doctors monitor patients. I am monitoring my athletes in terms of their heart rate, their sleep, and I've tried the food, but after 3 4 days, it kind of just it goes away. So I'm sticking to a traditional thing. If I can show you over here, which is WhatsApp. I'm calling it traditional because you know it's very what do you call that, nice. So if I have a food diary over here, so my client will send me all the communication, hey, what am I eating and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you can see all the food and everything, and then we're having a dialogue and stuff like that. Now we've
So is
tried this
this
on an
done?
app.
Is this on a daily basis or is this
So it
weekly or
depends on
what?
the client, it depends on the client's wish. So
Mm-hmm.
we offer the service to be in touch with the client every day, like a nutrition concierge. So initially the first 14 15 days everyone's interacting with us, and then they're like, okay, now I know what to do. They get motivated. Then they're sending it once a week. After 2 3 months they're sending it once a month. We still meet them twice a month or once a month. But what I've found out is that nothing can replace human interaction. And so I have one of the largest teams of dietitians in the country, and I keep telling my dietitians, you will be obsolete by 2025. And they get very angry. They're like, no, how is that possible? I'm like, listen, you're all going to become health counselors, health coaches. The
But
entire
that's more sustainable, and that's more a more sensible way of looking at it, isn't it?
Yes. And what's going to happen is your diet chart making or your measurements or whatever it is are going to be controlled by technology. The diet chart preparation technology, the artificial intelligence will put together stuff for you based on maybe a track record of data that you input. But after some time, the client's going to be saying, okay, I've got everything, but I still need a guru. I still need a teacher. Still need somebody to tap me along the way to tell me what I need to do, you know?
Okay. I mean, there are so many questions that I would like to ask myself, but I can see a lot of them popping up now. So I'm just going to ask a few from the screen. How do you prevent yourself from eating excessively out of boredom?
I was looking at the same question. So, that's a great question by one of our viewers that boredom. I wish I had my mask over here. I would have told a lot of people wear your mask at home also. You don't need protection from the virus. You need protection from food. But this is an actual condition. So we work with patients who have psychological eating problems. And very interestingly, Dr. Gayatri, I believe, I believe everything that you do as a behavior is genetically linked, whether it's committing suicide, a compulsive eating behavior disorder, or even going down the what we call as a schizophrenia, the bipolar disorder. They are linked to the genes and the proteins that are produced, either lack of it or excess of it. And maybe 20 years from now, when people have heard this lecture, say, oh yeah, he said about this, when I believe by then everything would be attributed to be finding it out quick enough. But if you're bored, two three things. You can do a genetic test to find out if you have a snacking behavior. So I have a gene in me which I've tested, which has got snacking behavior. So you will find me. Yesterday I was watching Star Trek till 2 a.m. in the morning. So I was like, I opened the fridge at 12 o'clock. I opened the fridge at 1 o'clock. Now I'm a nutritionist, so my hand stopped me and said, okay, I want to eat something, close the fridge. So I would have had a piece of chewing gum or something the other, because there was stuff in the fridge. Or I'll pick a cucumber, carrot, or if it's a fruit. But because I have a 7-year-old son, we tend to keep biscuits, or we tend to keep a packet of chips or something or the other. Yeah, people will
So
say,
to
oh, you're
choose,
nutrition.
so choose what you want to eat
Choose what you
in a
want to eat.
sensible way. Yeah.
Yes. From a hacking point of view, you can add coconut oil, you can add cucumber, celery, you can add any high protein food. So people who get bored, I give them a little bit of 10 to 15 grams of protein and make them have that. So if they're not in that
Okay.
intermittent window, then I give that to them. Again, boredom works from a perspective of, if you are bored, then you have to break the cycle of you snacking. So by doing the
Exactly.
genetic test, I came to know that I have the snacking behavior and I have the overeating disorder. So fortunately for me, I don't have the gene which stores high amount of fat, and I have a metabolism that's very high. So my body muscle percentage is higher. So these two guys, if I overeat, I'd begin to get a slight tummy. So I've got to constantly be aware of this. So when I put that in front of me, I've got it saying, oh, I have the snacking behavior and I have the overeating behavior. So when I'm bored, I'm definitely going to do that. So let's figure this out. If I'm bored, I'm not going to do this. So I have a coping mechanism. So the coping mechanism is putting a little coconut oil, because it gives you a satiety feeling,
So
or
how do you have the
chewing.
coconut oil? How
I
do you
just
have the
put it on,
coconut?
just have a teaspoon of coconut oil with hot water. Again, I have this saturated thumbs up gene in my body. My gene loves the saturated gene. So up to 15 grams of saturated fat is okay for me. I constantly check my homocysteine and my C-reactive protein for my heart markers. I don't have a heart issue currently, but I have a genetic marker which says I will get heart disease at a later stage. So I'm watching
Okay.
all of this. So if I overeat, the extra weight is going to put me into diabetes and hypertension, which ultimately cascades into heart problem. So you kind of balance it out. But cucumber with salt and masala powder is the best. Watermelon is really low calorie. This is really good. You want to be not snacking anything that comes in a plastic packet. I repeat,
Right.
you do not want to snack anything that comes in a plastic packet. My logic is very simple. If I'm in the house and I have to make noise with the food, right? That means it's in a packet, that's processed food in boredom. That should not be around your house. Chewing gum. Chewing gum is my best friend because for clients that I fail to communicate with the genetic report testing, with coconut oil, with cucumber, I'm like, listen, I know you have a thing, put chewing gum, keep chewing it. It'll confuse your brain saying that you're eating something.
You're eating something. But what about this, this 4 p.m. hunger pangs or the 6 p.m. hunger pangs? What do people do
Everybody
then?
gets that because your insulin has started working since morning. So now it's like kind of banging because you've got a drop in your sugar and your brain's still working. And you have to understand one thing: ancient man never worked beyond 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Between 12 and 4, you waited for the midday sun to go down, you rested under a tree, you did little work between 4 and 6, and you went out to sleep. So people actually ate early morning and then maybe something little bit in the evening. So it's an evolution point of view. What I do for an evening snack is I say go high protein.
Hmm.
If you don't have a
Okay.
uric acid problem, if you don't have any kidney problems, go high protein. You can do sprouts, you can do chana, you can do rajma, you can do a bale, you can do popcorn, you can do soya flakes, you can do full makhana, you can do so many things that are there at that time. But there's, for me personally, I love having an omelette, a 3 egg, 4 egg omelette around 4 to 6 o'clock in the evening. Another
Okay.
option is eat your dinner at 4 to 5 o'clock in the evening. You
Okay.
will
So you.
find after 7 to 10 days, if you know your clock, so it's my clock over here. So if it's now 5 o'clock, if I can finish eating at 5 o'clock, I now got a fast till 7 o'clock in the morning, which is giving me 12 to 14 hours. So the concept in now is what? Dinner करने का dinner का मतलब 8 9 10 बजे. But let's put it this way: we no longer follow the clock of the sun. So because we have electricity, we are working till 9, 10 at night. So it's no longer breakfast, lunch, dinner. Break my
Hmm.
fast, lunch, dinner, dinners after dawn meal. So I think it should be meal 1 2 3 4 5 or 1 2 3.
Okay. One, two,
And
three. Right.
therefore, try and figure this out. At 4 o'clock, have a massive meal, which is your dinner.
Okay. And
At
what if you
7 o'clock,
feel hungry at 10 o'clock at night then?
you shouldn't be awake actually at that time. But because
Try
electricity
telling
has
these
been
young people
because
that.
electricity has been created, so you make something like a salad bowl at that time,
Okay.
which is high
Okay.
fiber. So I'll tell you, I had my son's birthday was day before yesterday. We had a party at home, and I got some food catered, and so just 3 families came over, and I grow salad leaves, lettuce in my gardens. And I kid you not, I took out like this much of salad leaves and kept it on the dining table. And this was fresh from my garden. 2 people touched it, nobody else put it in. And I was just thinking over there, the rice got over, the idlis got over. So that was like 8 o'clock in the evening. So all the carbs got over. And what are you doing after that? You're sitting around, you're talking, you're going to be talking
Hmm.
to your wife, you're watching TV. Where does that carb go? It goes straight to your fat. Your liver is going to say, Salam साहब, अरे तो पूरा ग्लूकोज तो मतलब यूज हो गया, अभी तो बाकी का क्या करेगा? हाँ ठीक है, वो चर्बी के पास जाओ.
Okay. Taking from here. What about we're sitting for long hours in front of the TV.
Yeah,
Okay. Not necessarily you're having dinner in front of the TV, but just
correct.
sitting long hours. We were talking before the show started about something about liver health.
Yes. So, I just had a parent who came in today and says, what do you tell my teenage kids that they're watching TV till so late? How do you convince them that they need to go to sleep early because they have this teenage thing of staying up till 2, 3 a.m. in the morning? Now, here's the first thing, okay? Evolution says teenagers will stay up late because it's a body clock. But having said that, if any kids are watching this, if those of you are in the younger ages, or even if you're in your 20s or 30s, one reason you want to sleep a little earlier, and I also find this very difficult, but the days I sleep very early, you can see it in a blood test. You see, your liver says it requires 5 hours to detox. Okay. So now I am, after this show, I'm going to go out and water my plants because I'll get the evening sun. Evening sun goes into my eyes, goes to pineal gland, releases melatonin. Who's melatonin? Melatonin is this ancient molecule that sets your body clock on and saying, boss, you're feeling sleepy, time to go to sleep.
Helps you
But we
sleep,
have all
yes.
of these lights and TV and everything that goes to the melatonin and says, boss, you are not the dawn of your body. I am the dawn of the body. I will take care of you. Now, liver that side is saying, "Oh, boss, okay." The moment he closes his eyes, we need 5 hours to shut down the body and do the detoxification. Detoxification means cleaning up the body, rejuvenating the body, making yourself not age at all. Hang on. I just had dinner at 10 o'clock and I'm gone to
Mm.
sleep at 11:30, 12. My food is still in my stomach and intestines. Intestines saying, "Hey, hello, Mr. Liver, you please wait. The food is still coming from the stomach and intestine is still has to do its job. So no detoxification can start." So suddenly there's a jagada of the clocks. The clock of the liver is ready to run ahead, but intestine clock and the stomach clock already saying, "Boss, we are doing overtime over here. We are not going to have a synchrony." When there is no synchrony, there's a jagada happening in our body, and this jagada leads to bad skin. I mean, I do a lot of lectures in colleges. I get invited to colleges to talk to teenagers and all.
So what is the ideal time for, say,
So the ideal time. So if you want the ideal scientific time, it's 3 hours after the sun sets at the latest, and
okay,
that's not possible in today's world because we have work and stuff. What I would say is, I think the ideal time in the current 2020 scenario is 10 o'clock in the evening. And if you go to sleep by 10 o'clock, then you're getting a solid 8 hours by 6 o'clock in the morning. So you want to coincide your getting up. But people say, "Oh, but I'll go to sleep at 3 a.m. in the morning and I will get up, at 12 o'clock at noon or 11 o'clock at noon." It's very, very simple. Every day that you go to sleep, you will find out every 2 hours you'll have a sleepy cycle. So around 9:30, 9:45, most of us, Dr. Gayatri, even you would have noticed this, you'll feel yourself dozing. But if you miss that sleep cycle, your next
yeah,
sleepy cycle is about 2 hours later, which is around 11 o'clock. If you miss the 11 o'clock, which you're dozing on the stand, and then you watch TV, then you suddenly realize you can go through 12:30 and then 1 o'clock you're dozing. So if you can find out that 2 hour cycle and hit it correct, that is the advice I would give teenagers. I would give everybody. 10 o'clock is a perfect time. If you're doing 11, fine, it's okay, but make sure you're getting into bed 6 o'clock. I work with a company called Dozy in Bangalore. They put this small thing under your mattress, small sensor under your mattress. It tells whether I snore, tells my heart rate variability. It does everything for my athlete's recovery. It even tells me whether my sleep score is sufficient. So ever since I've got that, so last night I got a sleep score of 83%. So today I'm thinking, okay, yesterday I went to sleep at 2 a.m. in the morning, I got 83%. I have to go to sleep early because I always want to get 100% on my sleep score.
right,
So I
right.
think technology in sleep is also going to help people. It's also killing people because this blue screen, this blue light is affecting. Oh, another tip: switch off the Wi-Fi in your house. So, Dr. Gayatri, you have children at home. When you're going to sleep at around 10 o'clock, go and put off your Wi-Fi. The kids want to work on their phones and laptops. Get them to switch off the Wi-Fi and put off the Wi-Fi. Then you can sleep peacefully.
Now I don't know if that's deliberate or whether his power has gone off, because he did say that the power may go off and he'll need about 30 seconds for the generator to come back again. In any case, we have we've gone 40, nearly 45 minutes into the program. We'll wait a couple of more seconds to see if we can get Ryan back on. No, I think he's frozen. We just wait. Now, there are a lot of questions that have been coming in. I don't know if we can answer them all. We will try. Well, no, I think we've lost Ryan. But those of you, I could take very few questions. But those of you who would like to continue to ask some, please send them to the Health Travelers Worldwide Facebook page. Get in touch with them. And I'll conclude today's session. I'm sorry it had to go off so abruptly like this. Um, but Health Travelers Worldwide services include medical assistance and rescue, medical travel, second opinions, teleconsultations, surgeries abroad, and medical training. And I thank them for initiating the knowledge sharing series, and I'm pleased to be a part of it. To get in touch with Ryan and to ask some more of your questions, please contact Health Travelers Worldwide. We are very grateful to Nat Health, Healthcare Federation of India, for lending their support to the program. Please like, share, follow, subscribe to the Health Travelers Worldwide page on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube for updates and helpful medical information. Um, the knowledge sharing series will be conducted every Saturday at 4 p.m., and I look forward to seeing all of you again. My next my next guest speaker is Dr. Sonia Malik, IVF expert, and we will be with her next Saturday on the 27th of June. So I think that's it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hi, sorry. I think
Oh, you're back.
I'm
Welcome
back.
back.
I think the universe
Sorry,
heard me. The universe heard me very powerful because I was saying at night switch your Wi-Fi off, and my
I
Wi-Fi,
know.
and it was
That's one of the comments that someone just said. He said to switch off your Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I did. I thought that you had gone with all your electricity issues. You remember you
yeah,
told me
I
before
did
we
have the I
started.
did have the lights. I did have the lights go off. I do apologize to all our viewers, but we can't
So
control.
if it's
We
okay,
can't.
so if it's okay with Health Travelers Worldwide, I've already given my vote of thanks and everything. But we'll go back to the session, Ryan, because there are
All
lots of
right.
questions which are still coming in. And one of the
So
questions
let's
is
answer
that,
them.
okay, so one of the things is about eating fruit straight after a meal or dessert after a meal. A lot of it's one of the things we do when we go out to a restaurant, right?
Yes. So
Should you
let's
or
not
should you
do
not
that.
have fruit?
I'll tell you, don't do it. Let's look at it this way. Okay, you have a bank balance. Okay, so when you have a bank balance, you put a lot of food inside of you, and so the calories is very high. You're going for an evening dinner, and then after that, you're putting dessert, which is another 200-300 more calories, which is equivalent to 45 minutes of walking over and above the 2 hours of walking that you have to do for the food you already eat. So what I tell a lot of people, if you want to do a dessert, share it with a loved one, or one dessert with 4 spoons around the table, so you get it for your taste buds, or you eat a smaller meal, focus on a dessert. So whenever I go out, I'm eating very tiny and I keep space for dessert. That's a practical application you can do. Or when my wife and me go out for a date, we'd go for an ice cream date, and people will find us in UB City in Bangalore like, Ryan Fernando, you're a nutritionist, you're eating ice cream. But you know what, it's at 5 o'clock in the evening. We've had a crazy workout from 2 to 3 o'clock. We've done our great meal and everything, and we know that it was probably a legs day, so we want a dessert. So you reward yourself. So I think don't do desserts together. That's the worst thing, because that's going from your lips straight to your hips.
What about fruit after a meal?
Fruit again. Take the fruit from a perspective of you know like, I'm eating mangoes these days, but I do the mango not after dinner. So I will do breakfast, and then at 11 o'clock one mango, and then I
Right.
do. So I think now it's 5 o'clock in the evening, so I'm going to be doing a mango right now. So keep your fruit as a snack. Don't put it as a major part of the meal. That way you lower your calories.
Right, right. Is jaggery powder a good substitute for sugar? Not. Okay.
The barp is sugarcane. From sugarcane you get jaggery, and from jaggery, which gets bleached, to get sugar. It's still sugar. It's just the world trying to convince that you can take sugarcane. You know what? At the end of the day, if you're going to have sugar, take it. But you are going to get diabetes at some point in your life, so you got to lower that concentration of sugar down in your body. That's my advice.
So even if it's jaggery, that's the myth. People think jaggery is more organic and it's more, less
Let's put it.
refined than
Let's put
sugar.
it this way. I want to put sweetness in my mouth. I'd rather have sweetness in my mouth from a cake than
Okay.
having a teaspoon of it in tea or coffee. So when I look at tea and coffee with sugar every day, 7 days a week versus once a week a cake. As a nutritionist, if you're coming to me, Dr. Gayatri, to lose weight, I'd say enjoy your cake. But
Okay.
I don't want tea and coffee with sugar in it. I did a small exercise. 2 cups of tea with sugar a day and milk will make you consume nearly 55,000 calories extra per year. So
Oh
you
my
have to
God.
run 168 days to burn off that 2 cups of tea. So
Oh,
you
okay.
want to not have sugar in titbit things, but
In
keep
any
your
form.
sugar
Hmm.
in any form, but keep your
Right.
sugar for that one explosive, orgasmic taste bud kind of thing that you want. So for me, it's a gluten-free lemon meringue pie. I don't care how much sugars are there in that. I'm going to eat it. I do that once in 10 days.
What
But
about
there's
these
no tea.
desserts? Yeah, what about these desserts that they make with all the sugar substitutes?
Um, so
What do you think of them?
stevia right now and mahuang, which is the monk fruit, are two ones where the scientific research is saying there are no effects on the chemicals of these on the human body, so safe to
Okay.
consume. And
Safe.
they're
Okay.
saying that the microbiome, which is your gut bacteria, is not getting affected. But aspartame,
Yeah.
sucralose, asulfamine, which your zero Coke and zero Pepsi, and I see a lot of these things. Like a lot of these supplement companies also are adding these flavorings compounds with your
Yes.
protein
Yes.
shakes and all. They're actually not good for your gut microbiome. In fact, there are few papers that are talking about the insulin resistance actually goes up because you're confusing the body to release more insulin because it's based on the sweet sensation. So there's a lot
Right.
of stuff out there. I say no, 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 no to chemicals. In fact, if you again watch me at UB City, whenever I'm out over there, I'll have a can of Coke, full Coke when I'm eating out. People don't know
The
this.
regular
I'm going
Coke.
I'm going out for my reward meal. 7 into 4 meals in the week are normally done correctly. So it's that one reward meal where I will have a normal Coke with sugar in it. I will have my ice cream. I'll do everything. And that's like a meal which is like really sinful. But you need food for the brain also. You need food for the soul. The problem with us today is we're having food for the brain and soul, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where the excesses are piling on the calories.
Okay. So there's somebody, when you started that, when you stopped at that, let's put off the Wi-Fi. Can we continue over there?
Yeah, so why I say switch off the Wi-Fi, because what I'm understanding is that people, the Dozy app that I use to monitor my sleep, when the Wi-Fi is on, shows me not going into a deep REM cycle. I'm not getting enough of deep sleep. I'm not getting enough of dream cycles, which are supposed to be 4 in a night. So it really, I believe, helps hinders you. In fact, in my society, I've sent all of these reports out to my neighbors. So my neighbors that are there, they're like, hey, your Wi-Fi is this, and anytime when I go to sleep at night, if I see my neighbor's Wi-Fi on, in that week, I'll slip this note about why Wi-Fi is bad for your children's health under their door. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
reminding my neighbors and myself, everyone should shut down your Wi-Fi. If you want to work at night, get a metered connection. In fact, I work with Act Broadband, and they have the most amazing broadband speed. But the technician
ACT.
told me,
Yeah,
ACT.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
ACT the guy told me, sir, you do one thing. Your modem has 5 outlets. You put all your full house, your major computer, TV, everything on the wire. Don't use Wi-Fi. Don't use 5G, because that, I believe, is kind of making us more angry, unhealthy. So even if there's these rumors going around, I'd like to err on the side of caution and plug in my device. I'd like to switch off my Wi-Fi for my house if it's going into the air at night, so that you sleep deeper.
Okay. Ryan, you have been a nutritionist, a celebrity nutritionist for sports people. Our very well-known cricketers, international cricketers, our golfers. Can you tell us a little bit more about, if it's, doesn't have any issues with confidentiality, about what their habits are and, how you help them? What is it that they
S-
do?
what a sports person does completely different is they treat their body like a high-end
Temple.
machine, like a
Okay.
high-end machine, like a temple. Absolutely right, Dr. Gayatri. Now they require to push their body above and beyond that of normal. So first of all, a sports person will train 5 to 6 hours a day, 3 hours morning, 3 hours evening. So the calorie expenditure of an arm army, if it's one, the calorie expenditure on a sports person is three times the value.
Okay.
So now, if I'm going to be expending, like as Ryan Fernando, I'm burning 15, I require just 15, 1700 calories a day. As a sports person, Ryan Fernando would require almost 5,000 calories a day, depending on the sport, right? So now, when you go to that level, imagine the amount of food you need to put into your body. So if you're doing one time bad as a sports person, if your nutrition is not in place, you're doing three times the bad on your body by eating the wrong food. So the number one thing that the athletes are doing is we're working on their blood tests to check whether they're damaging their blood, their RBCs, their C-reactive protein, their inflammation markers by the physical exertion. The second thing that we're looking at is there a lack of calories? Is there lack of protein? Is there lack of fat? Is there lack of carbohydrate? Balance that out. Then look at molecules that enhance performance. Beetroot enhances vasodilation. So it expands your blood vessels, removes lactic acid. Beetroot reduces exercise exhaustion by up to 19%. Beetroot has something known as nitrates in it, but the plant that has the highest amount of nitrates in it is rocket leaf. So this is stuff that we do as sports nutritionists, which is start asking your player to consume rocket leaves. Oh, rocket leaves are not available. Go to Amazon, buy the seeds, put it in your balcony, and every day cut 5 to 10 leaves of rocket leaves, put it into your salad, have that in. Oh,
Thank you very much. That's a great tip because the rocket leaves are not easily available here too.
I'm growing rocket leaves on my terrace, and you just plant the seeds and they beautifully sprout up. And you can do micro rocket leaves, which are tiny. They taste superb, and when they grow a little bigger, they grow a little bit. They go a little bit bitter. But then when you camouflage that with your salad and your salad dressing, it's really good. I think a lot of people, what they can take away is that put a lot of greens in your house. Stop buying furniture. Stop putting excessive
Right.
rugs in your house. Buy pots, buy potting mixture, and plant in your house. You will have more carbon dioxide, more filtration, sorry, more oxygen, more filtration in your house. You'll have plants that will grow. When you look at food and you grow it, I tell these athletes, you're eating that food, you feel really pleasurable about that going into your body. And so that's things that we do with the athletes. They want to take supplements, so we want to do supplements like proteins, multivitamins, minerals, amino acids. So they don't know what to do. So some other athlete is taking it. So, oh, he's fashionable. Oh, he's wearing Gucci. He's wearing Gucci trousers. So I should also wear Gucci trousers. It doesn't work the same way. So if he's taking a protein shake, I cannot take a protein shake. You might be allergic to a whey protein. You might be allergic to a vegan protein. So that's what we do with these athletes. It's very difficult being an athlete right now because you've taken away the essence of training those 6 hours a day. So a lot of them are locked down. They're enjoying their life, but they're scared about when they come back. How do they
Yeah.
train? How will they get back to levels? People who are on the Olympic levels now, they're crying because they do not know whether their Olympic qualifier is going to be selected or they have to reselect again, which
Yeah.
means they have to start
Requalify. Yeah.
requalifying again. So there's a lot in it, but I can tell you this much, Dr. Gayatri. Sports is booming in India right now. They're getting a lot of support from government, the corporates. Professionals are cropping up in terms of physiotherapy, doctors, nutritionists, some mind coaches, psychologists, masseurs. So it's just about another 10 years where we see that sports is really, really going to be an amazing profession for a lot of the youngsters in our country.
Right. There are a lot of articles we read, I've read recently about the superfoods. So you
Yes.
have these superfoods in India like jackfruit and drumsticks.
Yes.
What do you think
I
about them?
I think you see, I worked for
Why,
two very
first of all, why are they called superfoods?
yeah. So I worked for two large companies, and marketing is one way to get people to try something new. We have an ancient text in India called Ayurveda.
Yes.
Ayurveda already defined these foods on the
Hmm.
power. So the kapha, the pitta, and the vata of the foods, right? That's the, you can call them as superheroes. So the superheroes for different types of people and different types of personalities, what we call as the energy coming out of a person. So I think the Western world and people like me who are nutritionists who will work with marketing companies will come up with these exotic terms, superfoods and all. It just means that there is a compound in that food that may have some therapeutic intervention. So I'll give you an example. Um, in Tulsi, there are active compounds in Tulsi that boost your lymphocytes and your immunity. Okay,
Mhm.
or you take adrak, ginger. There's a compound in ginger called gingerols. Gingerols is naturally known to reduce your inflammation when you eat all of these toxic foods. Ginger is known to be anti-carminative, which is reducing the gas production in your intestine and makes all the bad bacteria in your intestine behave a little better. So it's like a
Does this
police
apply?
force.
Sorry, does this apply to raw ginger or cooked ginger or the ginger paste?
Uh,
Does it apply to
so
all the
gin-
forms?
so it applies in terms of ginger and garlic for their superfood connotations. They definitely work in the raw form, but very interestingly, I was doing a research for the COVID right now for immune boosting. The dried ginger is not as potent as freshly squeezed ginger.
Okay.
So fresh in my book is always the best. However, you put it on a scale of gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal. Gold medal will be organic ginger, silver medal will be normal ginger, and bronze medal will be ginger powder. So
Okay.
that's ginger powder or ginger paste. Because when you do all of this processing, you're going to lose some sort of antioxidant potential, because oxygen will go in and react with that when it's being produced, and it loses out its potential. For example, you have turmeric, which has curcumin in it.
Hmm.
So, curcumin, if you have it with pepper, suddenly makes it more bioavailable and up to 800% more absorbable, which is
Yeah.
why I think we Indians have lesser cancer because of this superfood called haldi, which we put in everything that we cook on, you know.
So
So,
that is cooked haldi. Is that
cooked haldi.
is that
So,
so?
again,
Now people are now during the COVID times, they're doing haldi gargles. They're having haldi, raw haldi powder in the mornings, and then
yeah.
you have haldi in your food. Do we need so much haldi in our diet every day?
You can put so much of haldi. One sign to check if you're doing overdoing it, you start getting a throat burn. So you keep doing that through the day, because then the haldi has irritated your trachea. Another thing is to watch for blood in your stools, because turmeric is known to thin the blood, and so people who have things like hemorrhoids, piles, and all, it tends to act up. There's more
Okay.
bleeders, so you can find blood in your stools. So I think you can use it as your own barometer, but I think doing more than quarter teaspoon of haldi a day is just ridiculous, because the body's, you and I come from a medical industry where we use drugs. Vitamin C, I remember reading a paper, does not absorb more than 40 milligrams per hour. So when you take a 500 milligram capsule of vitamin C, I think the mega dosage, unless you're putting it as an intravenous, the gut has evolution guiding it and will not allow an overconsumption. Therefore, from a food form or a supplement form, taking additional amounts of thing will not allow the gatekeeper in your body to take more. It will reach a certain level, and nature has designed us to cut it off. So that would be my answer, saying that don't overdo superfoods, don't overdo supplements, do it in moderation. So here's the difference: people in our country either do zero or they do excess. There's
Hmm.
no moderation. Nutrition needs to be had with a pinch of salt, not a handful of salt. That's the important thing.
That's true. Okay. I think this is some kind of a record, but are you okay to go on for a few more sessions, a few more
Absolutely,
questions?
absolutely. I'm having fun with you, Dr. Gayatri. This is so amazing. So let's do this.
So, someone
Um,
wants to know what is the diet to be followed to reduce belly fat?
okay, so belly fat, we Indians have a gene that causes us to store more fat around the belly area. That's because of something known as visceral fat. So the visceral fat goes near the stomach, the organs, and pushes it out. The number one tip for reducing visceral fat is walking. Don't run. Low intensity walking 2 hours a day will start dropping your belly fat. Okay. You want to do a high carb diet. Sorry, you want to do a high protein diet. Your carbohydrates need to be under 200 grams a day to start targeting your belly fat. You want to explore dalchini or cinnamon. If you don't get ulcers in your mouth and you're not allergic to cinnamon, then up to 4.5 grams of cinnamon a day help in reduction of belly fat. So try out pinches of cinnamon on your fruit, in your chai, in your coffee, like that, and then wash it down with your peppermint tea, and do about 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 3 times a day. Dalchini and ginger are natural fat burners. You want to
Okay.
eat fruits, stick to apple, pear, watermelon. These are, in my opinion, not fruits that give you too many calories. They're not calorie dense, like a mango or a banana or a chiku, which are calorie dense, so which will give you a lot of sugar per pound. So
Ryan,
that's
this is
something.
mango season. This is mango
Uh,
season.
so then you do what I do. I ate 6 mangoes last night, and I did a 4 kilometer sprint this morning. That's what you need to do. You need to
Yeah.
sin on one side and then go for confession on the
Yeah.
other
So
side. So
I think as long as we are aware of what we are putting in and
yes.
balance that out with the exercise and the output. So this input output, if we are aware of this in our heads, I think we should be good,
Yes, because
right?
that's the mechanics, the input and
Yeah.
output. And then in that input and output, as it goes through your digestive system, it's a chemical, biochemical, hormonal system in your gut, which is led not by your body, but by nearly 2.5 kgs of bacteria, whose number of cells outweigh the total number of cells in your human body. So we are actually walking microbiomes. We have more
Right.
microbiology in us than human cells. So I think that if you can tweak that to become better, you can definitely enjoy more amount of mangoes. Dr. Gayatri, have the mango, but don't do the cake, don't do the biscuit, don't do the chai with sugar. You take that
Right.
out of your life. You're
Yeah.
living in evolution where you ran past a mango tree. This is 3,000 years ago. Oh, mango. I don't think I'm going to get another tree for another 100 kilometers. Eat all that mango, store it in your body. But then on the way, there's no Swiggy, there's no Zomato, there's no McDonald's, there's nothing. So that's how I would put it to people, to
Okay, now
survive.
there's another fad, which is not a fad. I mean, people are reading about the Mediterranean diet, you
Yes.
know, olive oil. And but we're looking at Indian cooking. So what is your take on using olive oil for cooking, Indian food?
Oh, I so love this question. You see, I as a nutritionist, I had these friends in Italy, so I had these champagne like of olive oils. Okay, Dr. Gayatri, like 10 grand a bottle. So I thought like a big shot nutritionist, I've got this champagne of olive oil, and I had it, and I had high cholesterol. I had 240 total cholesterol levels. Okay,
Okay.
and I tried everything possible, and I one day went to the doctor. He says you start taking a statin. I'm like, इज्जत का सवाल यार, nutritionist, how the hell can I take a statin? So when about 5 years ago, the genetic lab came back to me and said, "Sir, आपका जो genetic plan हम लोग मुफ्त में करेगा." So they did it. Now it came back that my MUFA gene, which is my mono unsaturated fatty
Fatty
acid,
acids.
was very high for fat deposition and fat gain, and my
Okay.
PUFA was down. So my Indian gene preferred the PUFA type of oils, which is sarson ka tel, sunflower oil, safflower oil, and my saturated gene. So ghee and butter. So what I did is I took out the olive oil bottles for 3 months. I did this, and without doing anything, Dr. Gayatri, my blood test dropped down to 155. Not doing anything, just changing the oil. So the
Oil.
Mediterranean diet is for people around the Mediterranean. Yes, olive oil has certain molecules in it which prevent atherosclerosis. So have olive oil, but not as the major portion of Indian cooking. Olive oil is had once or twice or thrice a week with your salad.
Yes.
Do an
That's a virgin olive oil? Virgin, extra
extra
virgin?
virgin olive oil. Don't cook
Mm-hmm.
olive oil because it's heat labile. So I think
Right.
that would be the way the Indian subcontinent needs to approach that. The
Mm-hmm.
Mediterranean diet is very high in bread. I don't think us Indians have got the microbiome and the genetic makeup to digest bread very well. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for it. What I would say is they do a lot of nuts and fish. So the takeaway from the Mediterranean diet is if you are non-vegetarian, switch your red meats to fish. So I'm from the coast. I'm from Goa. I live in Bangalore where we hardly have any fish over here. But I make sure I find the best online butcher app to get me fish. So I'm having either salmon or mackerel, which have one of the highest omega 3. So I don't take a fish oil capsule. I eat salmon or mackerel 3 times a week. So
Okay.
that's giving me my omega 3. And the omega 3 is a MUFA type of oil which is going to protect my blood. But if I overdo the fish, my cholesterol starts rising with the
Mm-hmm.
MUFA. But I do the right level, it starts. So it's about finding a balance. So don't take a fad from a newspaper, from a journal, from an internet blog, or from the wherever. Or your friend has done a keto diet and you start doing it. Take something, Do it for 90 days. Do a blood test before, do a blood test after. Check your cholesterol, check your lipid profile, check your liver enzymes, check your kidney enzymes. If they improve, then whatever you're trying to do is a thumbs up. If your weight goes down and you want your weight go down, that's a thumbs up. If you don't know how to do this and you're trying to do it randomly and you think you're harming your body, work with your trainer, work with your nutritionist. That's the right thing to do in 2020.
Yeah. You mentioned the genetic tests a couple of times. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us which are the important ones, where we can get it done? And also, one is the genetic test. The other one is, what about your allergy tests? Because there are a lot
Good
of people
question.
who are allergic to different kinds of foods.
Good. So I've been doing the allergy test for a long period of time. I hardly ask for it because I believe you can get the food allergy test can be really misconstrued. So
And
the
they're not
thing
very
is, right,
specific, aren't they? They're not very
they're not very
specific.
specific, but after a clinical diagnosis of symptoms, I ask the client a lot of questions. And then with a trial and error method without the blood test, I eliminate a few, and we do not get a significant improvement in the patient's, let's say, pimples or acne or constant sneezing. Then I ask for the IgG test, which is the food sensitivity test. And then I use the food sensitivity test to eliminate those foods out of the patient's regime. Like the other day, I had a lady who was allergic to potato, and I was shocked. In 22 years of practice, I never had anyone allergic to potato. I removed her of potatoes, and within 10 days, she sent back photos of her skin drying up because she had adult acne all her life.
So
So
these are done. These allergy tests are done in what kind of
most
labs?
most most diagnostic labs will do the
Okay.
food allergy test. You want to be asking for the IgG. My
Hmm.
clinics really help out people. So if you just place a call to Qua Nutrition, we help you out on the genetic test. We help you out on the food allergy test. Here's the point: people do the test but don't know what to do with the test. So I
Yeah.
always say first don't do the test. Like a lot of people go, they do blood tests. I remember I was working with this Fortune 500 company in Bangalore, 400 vice presidents in that company. Everyone gets an annual checkup. Only 6 people came to the nutritionist with a blood test. The remaining did the blood test, and they were not analyzing the data. So there's a lot that you do when you do a blood test, which is what are you going to do about it? And food represents the biggest therapeutic intervention agent, which currently people do not want to do because they are lazy. Because if you take
Hmm.
a pill, it's instant. But if you take, if so let's say I have high cholesterol. If I take a statin, within 3 days my level's controlled. But if I take almonds, oats, green leafy vegetables, eliminate my oils, this gonna take me 3 months just to balance it out. I don't have the patience to do it. So food is not for those who want to do the short term fix. It's the long
Who
term
want
fix. The genet
immediate
Yeah,
results?
the genetic test that I
Yeah.
was telling you about, for me, I didn't like it a lot in 1999 when I was doing it for the sports people. We used to do a gene called the ACT3N gene, which checked the sprinting gene, the body's ability to process sprinting in an athlete. And you either were a sprinter, long distance, short distance, and all. Today, there's significant amount of research being done. Still not yet accurate in terms of, let's say, fat deposition, fat storage. But there are genes for, let's say, for example, the MTHFR gene, which says whether your body will process folic acid or not. Now,
Oh.
90% of depression cases are linked, in my opinion, to the MTHFR gene because your body cannot process folic acid, which goes to a certain molecule and produces your dopamine, your serotonin, XYZ. And the crucial link is if that gene doesn't work, all you have to do is take a supplement of methylfolate. So
Hmm.
research is going in that direction. So the gene tests that we do at our clinic are all linked to your nutritional markers. For example, the gluten DNA test. So what we say is that genetically, does your gene, this subset of a gene, agree with gluten? Now, people may do the test with us and say, but I have no gluten sensitivity symptoms. So it's more of vanity thinking saying that I'll check for my lactose intolerance, I'll check for my MUFA, PUFA, saturated fat, I'll check for my gluten sensitivity, I'll check my vitamin B1, B2, B6, B9, B12. No, but hang on, Ryan, you wanted a blood test on that. What's a genetic test got to do? The genes are your factory blueprint. So by
Right.
knowing your factory blueprint, if let's say your vitamin E gene doesn't absorb well, you've suddenly discovered why in an aerobic capacity level you're not producing enough of energy after a workout. And the simple thing is, can I find foods that are high in vitamin E as a nutritionist? And then my client will turn to me, no, but I don't have so much discipline. Okay, can I prescribe a supplement? So that's how
So
I
are
would
these
juggle.
so are these tests available in all your clinics all over the country, wherever you
They're
have your
available.
clinics?
They're available all over the country. You don't need to go anywhere. You just need to call up Quad Nutrition, and we courier the kit to you. It's a small
Okay.
box. I
Okay.
No, I don't have one over here. You spit into it. We ask you to massage your cheeks so the epithelial cells will go into your spit. You spit into it. You open up a small vial which puts a preservative in it. Close it up. Write the address. Call us up. A DHL or a FedEx guy will come and pick it up. Give us 5 weeks. The lab takes time because in India currently the number of samples processed, they need 99 to process it. So it takes them about four
Hmm.
weeks to process it. But in America, you get it in about, I think you get it in about 6 days. So it's anywhere from, it starts from our clinic from 15,000 to about 22,500 for each panel that you do. There are about 6 to 7 labs in India that do it. There are multiple labs. More importantly than the lab, you have to ask them to tell you,
The
please
correct
send
one.
me a sample copy of how you interpret this report.
Hmm.
There's no point getting the report because somebody has to tell you what you need to do with that report. And
Right.
this is what's
Right.
happening. So a lot of my clients come to me, Ryan Fernando, we have done the gene test. I'm like, okay, what did they tell you to do? Oh, nothing. They just gave me the report. Did you read the report? Yeah, I read it, but I don't understand anything in it.
So if we
Why did
do
you do
it
the
through
report?
if we do it through
You
Qua
spend 2 hours
Nutrition.
on you spend 2 hours on a person explaining it to you. So I'll give you an
Okay.
example. If your saturated gene comes back as positive, then I'm explaining to you that in your nutrition plan, I'm going to allow you to have ghee and butter. But because you're a heart patient, I'm going to limit it only to 10 grams a day. But if you're not a heart patient, you're a 14-year-old kid, I'll tell the mother, boss, put the ghee in his chapati, but his ghee has come back gluten intolerant. So the chapati can be made with besan, it can be made with amran, jowar, bajra, but no gehu ka atta and barley ka atta.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how we are getting a little more technically specific in giving advice once the gene report comes in.
So now tell me, in steps. Suppose I was one of your clients. I'd go to one of your clinics here. I'd go to the one in Delhi. What do I do? So I speak to but I want to speak to you.
You speak to a nutritionist. The
But I
nutritionist
want to
will,
speak to you. How do I speak to you?
if
I
you want
don't
to
know
speak
this
to me,
nutritionist.
just pick up the phone and call up Quad Nutrition and say I want to do a plan with Ryan Fernando. Then my
Right.
team will walk you through the process. What blood test
Okay.
you need, send the gene kit across to you, book an appointment, and then we get on a 2 hour counseling where I go through from the day you are born. People I've asked people question like, were you a C-section baby? And they're like, I don't know that. I said, call up your mom right now. Because if you are C-section, you didn't get your mother's vaginal inoculation of the bacteria to your gut, and therefore, most likely, your sensitive gut is because you are C-section baby.
Right.
So we find out that history through your entire life, and people will
Okay.
come to us for weight loss, hyperthyroidism, anything. Once you
So
get
you
that, we
so
do.
so you send the you do the tests, and then the test results come again. Then you contact the client.
Yes, the test
Okay.
results come back and then we contact the client. Normally, what we do is because the genetic report takes about 5 weeks to come back, we already start a plan with you because I am of the viewpoint of that. Hey, listen, I've looked at what you've told me what you're doing, and I know there are 20 things that you're doing wrong. I'm not going to let you cheat for another 5 weeks because everyone says, no, 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 5 weeks, let me enjoy. Now you're going to put me
You're
on a
a,
nutrition plan after this.
you're a
I want
tough
to binge.
taskmaster, Ryan. You're a tough taskmaster.
It has to be that way
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's how you win Olympic medals. So the side effect of me being a sports nutritionist is, whatever happens in your car today, your automatic braking system, your rain shield wipers which activate automatically, these are all things that came out from Formula One racing, from sports.
Hmm.
So what we do in sports is at the highest level, taskmaster level. So when you bring that to a common person, they're like, okay, this is what I need to do to be the best me. And some people believe that they need to invest in themselves. Some people buy the best of homes, the cars, and everything else, but their best is not on themselves. So I think 2020 has just given everybody a wake up call. Health is the new wealth.
Absolutely. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. There's one more question, and it's come up for the second time. What is the diet that's recommended for hypothyroidism?
Good
Hypothyroid
question.
people.
Good question. we are facing a lot of hypothyroidism because of food sensitivities. Our
Mm-hmm.
foods are contaminated with insecticides and pesticides. Unfortunately, we live in a country where there is no control on the spraying of crops. So we are eating food with a lot of chemicals. So first thing to a lot of people, to prevent thyroid issues, eliminate the chemical foods. Try and buy organic as much as your dal chawal. These are the two grains which you have in maximum amount. Buy organic as much as possible. Now if you ask me, how do you know and all, I am not the food minister to tell you it is. I go and try and find sources of farms and all who produce organic. Try and give me an organic certificate, buy from them. Number one. Number two, the thyroid functions based on the thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay. TSH requires 10 molecules of nutrition in the human body, right from protein to B12, vitamin C, magnesium, selenium, zinc, and I can't remember all 10 of them. When there's a nutritional deficiency of this, your thyroid stimulating hormone is going to be sluggish. So it's not going to work. And then finally, you put in molecules that are doing khujli to your body, which is called the antigen antibody reaction, autoimmune disorder. I believe firmly that everybody's is attacking their ovaries, PCOD, attacking their thyroid, hypothyroidism, attacking their pancreas, diabetes, attacking their intestine, irritable bowel syndrome. So this attack is happening by chemicals or the wrong food that nature has not designed for you to eat, and you're putting that into your body. And then this appears only in your 25s and 30s, because up till 20 you have growth hormone helping you in healing, and then after that the body starts deteriorating. By the time you're 30 or 35, you get all of these issues. So hyperthyroidism, I believe, is nutritional deficiency. And with due respect to doctors, Dr. Gayatri, to you and even both my in-laws who are doctors, it's this: when somebody has a thyroid problem, what do? We give a thyroid medication.
Right.
Nobody's asking this question: why the hell is the thyroid not working? What's his problem? Who is doing kujli to him? What are we not feeding him? Or what are we overfeeding him? I believe as a nutritionist, if you go to the crux of that, that's work. This concept of goitrogenic diet and eliminating ragi and all is great. You're removing some trigger which is not going to help your thyroid to function well and produce your T3, T4. Agree. But I believe it's a lack of knowing what to eat, and the kujlis that you're putting into your body to be eliminated is the best way to do a hypothyroid diet. There's no one size that fits all. Best to work with a nutritionist on a case to case basis. Simple tip, I think Mrinali has asked it. Mrinali, please go organic is the first tip to you, and check for a gluten sensitivity. I believe gluten is an issue for most thyroid patients.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's another one which says, can you highlight the nutrition for a child who's 3 years old and the family is essentially vegetarian? How can they provide more protein? I think
Okay.
this, I don't know if she heard your discourse on the dals, but maybe some,
Yes.
you could just cap that.
Very quickly, a 3-year old kid, if they eat well enough, please don't focus on protein. If the child eats 3 solid meals a day, a 3-year old child will be probably maximum about 12 kgs at weight, 12 to 15 kgs, not more than that. To get 12 to 15 kgs of protein is very easy in 3 meals a day. You just need 5 or 6. It's when they come to that age of 7 to 15 where we need to give them more amount of protein because they're growing taller. So 3-year-old toddler, if there are no health issues, there's nothing, go ahead. I do have 3 or 4 specialists on my team who are called pediatric nutritionists. If there's an issue with the child, right from constipation to Down syndrome to dysphagia to ADHD, stuff like that, we will be most happy to do a one-on-one. I hate giving specialist advice to children between 3 and 10, because then mothers suddenly say, "Are Ryan said no, we should give milk to the kid." Suddenly your kid, you're giving milk every day, but your kid is lactose intolerant. This is the worst thing that I hear on talk shows. Dietitian, nutritionist giving advice, and then the whole world follows that. Ghee bahut acha hai. But if your child has a dairy allergy and you're giving copious amounts of ghee, you're putting in the allergen into the body of the kid. So please do not take advice from people in internet shows. Take it with a pinch of salt. Go specific when it comes to designing the food for your family, especially the food for toddlers.
So, one talking about specific, can you tell us a little bit about, a good balanced diet for women in
Mhm.
different age groups? Post starting from the older postmenopausal, someone who's arthritic, osteoarthritic,
Wow,
not
that's
very active.
this is massive. This is massive. We could do 3 hours on this alone,
Okay,
because women
I
are
give
very hard to please. But let me
three
start very
minutes.
quickly.
3 minutes.
One quick thing. Women start working out. Muscle is the only age reversible organ in the human body. So you start working out at 15, 16, you maintain your muscle mass. Second, when you have a child, don't say I will come back to losing weight after 1 or 2 years. When you're breastfeeding, remember this: in the first 3 months of breastfeeding, you lose the highest amount of body fat percentage if you exercise and breastfeed and do a nutrition plan. So I've had women lose 20, 25 kgs on a proper workout. Oh, I don't have time for myself for 1 hour. That's not my problem about time. My thought process to you is you can work out and get the right thing. So preserve your muscle. Second, try and eliminate the triggers that are there in nature. The insecticides, pesticides in your diet, so go organic. Second is, I think gluten is a big culprit for a lot of women. Try and eliminate it from your diet. Just remove gluten in any age group: osteoarthritis, arthritis, menopause, premenopause, having fertility issues. I believe that you will find that there will be a significant improvement. In fact, next year I'm writing a book called Why Wheat, as in why, as why should I not eat wheat. And I'm working with a lot of guys from the US and all, in terms of, being Ryan Fernando, 1.5 billion population. When you say you have a clinic and you call up a doctor in the US, you get a return call, and Dr. Mark Hyman's talking about the gluten sensitivity. And we are now trying to work on data in India, which will say that most Indian women, when they're taking an allergen, it's affecting their ovaries. And if it's affecting their ovaries, it's affecting the estrogen, progesterone, prolactin, and various other hormones that are causing this yo-yo of your fat and muscle, which is then related to your skin, your hair, and everything. Key
And
things that I
fertility.
would give, yeah, key things that I would give to a lot of women out there, some few tips. Amla at any age. Amla is an amazing product. Little bit of haldi is an amazing thing. Lots of cucumber. Cucumber is an amazing detoxifying product. If you can put a lot of cucumber in it. In your handbag, women, in addition to your mirror and your lipstick, an apple, because an apple has got very good fiber, and a fruit peeler for self defense to poke somebody and peel that apple. This is an amazing thing that you can do, because you can. So why do you want to
So
feel
what
a
you're
fruit?
saying is you have to peel the apple, not the apple with the peel.
Because what happens is, my dadima had apples without wax. I have
Ah,
apples with wax.
that's the
So
point.
I
Yes.
don't want you putting that wax into your system, because I don't know if that wax is biodegradable. It's a petroleum based wax which is going to affect you, even if it's a beeswax. And beeswax is very expensive. So I'm like, okay, just peel the apple and eat it, because I'm looking at you not munching on a energy bar or something like that, which is more processed oriented. So that's where I would go with the apple. Women who are hitting their 40s, start working out with a personal trainer. It's an amazing investment. Amazing. Make your husbands pay for a personal trainer. Don't buy diamonds. Diamonds lose their value. Your body does not lose its value.
I
So
think
you
they
make it.
owe it to themselves, even if their husbands are, they owe it to themselves to invest in themselves.
Yes, but why I said this is because my wife asked me to buy her a diamond ring. I won't buy it. My wife asked me to gift her the best personal trainer in Bangalore. I'll do it. Why? Because I have to look at my wife every day. So that's a selfish thing to all the men out there. You gift your wife a personal trainer with your approval, and you are the beneficiary of that. The health of your wife. And women, osteoporosis, bones getting brittle because estrogen starts dropping. The weight training improves the bone density. So very, very important after the age of 45. Dr. Gayatri, you're a doctor, you know this better. All our listeners should do the bone mineral density test at
Yes.
least once every 3 years.
Hmm.
And if your Z score is below 1, it's a score. If it's below 1, you want to take the necessary, not only calcium supplements, but you want to do weight training so that the calcium is absorbed into the bone, and check your vitamin D. And few miracle foods that I love: goji berries, amazing.
Okay.
Find resveratrol. So if you drink wine, prescription from Ryan Fernando, one glass of wine every day. One
Red
glass.
wine?
That is red wine, only red
Yeah.
wine, because red wine has the resveratrol and anti-aging and polyphenols. Okay. If you're a teetotaler and don't like alcohol, get non-alcoholic wine. which still has the preservatives, and still if you don't want that calories which is in 200 ml of wine, which is even non-alcoholic, get a capsule which should contain green tea extract, which should contain resveratrol, which should contain astaxanthin and glutathione. These are things that you can take from an anti-aging perspective.
What
The
is this
foods
miracle
that
capsule called?
there are no miracle capsules out there. You have to individually prescribe them
Ah, okay.
for a person. Maybe after 2 3 years I'll make one of these capsules, but there's a guy in US called Dr. Pericon who makes this capsule. So in the US there's a guy called Dr. Pericon who is a dermatologist to the superstars. So he has got his own range of products, so he prescribes this. I've used it for a lot of my film stars. Works wonderfully on skin and hair. But broccoli, cabbage, white mushrooms are three foods in a woman's shopping bag that work wonders in terms of antioxidant
What
potential.
do you say? Broccoli, cabbage, and white mushrooms.
White mushrooms, provided you don't get gas. A lot of women complain about gas with cabbage
Mhm.
and broccoli, but if you don't get gas, you're lucky. The bacteria love it. So then go with these three guys, because they have something which produces the sulfur based amino acids, which help in your body producing its own amount of glutathione. Glutathione is an anti-aging, anti-cancer, and liver detoxifier. And basically glutathione makes you look younger and makes you feel younger. So that's something that you can insert into your daily regime.
Mhm. Okay, then. So the last question here is from about women putting on weight or finding it difficult to lose weight after menopause. I think that's something we all struggle with.
That's something with everybody. So you need to understand why this happens. Okay, when you have estrogen, estrogen keeps fat in check. And the whole your whole menstruation cycle, the luteal and follicle phase, everything goes up and down, and that's perfect. Women are born with limited number of eggs, which is pre-programmed at birth, which tells you when you'll achieve your menopause. Now the moment the menopause gets over, your estrogen goes away. Now, people don't know this. Fat is a sister of a function that estrogen does in terms of keeping your skin and hair beautiful. So, evolution has done it in such a way that as your estrogen falls down, the fat that is stored around your hips, your bum, and your belly start going up, because fat is able to, in its small cell, produce minute quantities of estrogen.
It's
So it is a way for the human female to still not get depleted, lose the bone structure, lose skin and hair in terms of youthfulness. So I would say that once women get into the menopause phase, the biggest problem right now with the population who's hitting menopause is those that are born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. This population has never worked out. So I'm telling all the women in that 60s, 50s, and 40 years of age, get the personal trainer, start working out. No, yoga is not enough. You need to do strength training. You need to do walking. So you're like, Ryan, but what can I do? I don't have time. When you hit the menopause, that's the time you make time for yourself. You've given enough to your family and your children. Now it's your me time. And I believe that me time is a minimum 2 hours a day for
So
your health,
prioritize
your
your own
well-being.
health. Prioritize
Yes,
your health, because
yes.
if that's what I always say about women, because we always tend to neglect ourselves, and it's always the family first and us second. But if we are not healthy enough, you cannot look after the family.
I think that's most important. And I think the men in India also need to wake up and actually push their wives in that direction, saying that, listen, you
Yes.
need to take care of your health. So a lot of time my wife looks at me and she says, well, what do you think? How do I look? I'm like, okay, you need to ask the trainer to work on this. And she'll sulk for a day, but then she understands that I have to give her positive feedback. Most men will say, oh, you look fine. Don't tell your wife you look fine, even if you're going to be sleeping in the next room, because
That's the
that
most
woman has to
non-specific. Yeah.
you move this woman is going to be with you till your dying breath, whoever
Yeah.
goes first. So she's going to take care of you, you have to take care of her. So I think taking care of a woman by telling her, yes, she looks good, but then encourage her not to lose it. So yes, Mother's Day, Women's Day, I always tell men, gift your wife a nutrition plan, gift your wife a membership, spa. Dr. Gayatri, you have to go to the spa once a week. You have to get deep tissue massage. Women have to get this because if they don't want cellulite, they don't want their skin to look old, they want to you look youthful. In addition to input, you need physical stimulation of the cellular, the cellular, the epidermis and stuff like that for blood circulation. So I hope people that are listening in, just take this on your life. Go to where your husband is, rewind it, and say, see, this guy said I need personal trainer, I need a spa, and I need a nutritionist. So these are the three most important things. And then to the husbands, if you're watching this, don't buy her a diamond for the year. Put that all into the health of the woman of your life. So I think that's what I would do.
It's just that these are difficult times. The gyms were closed. Now I don't know if they open in all across India. Then the spas and salons. So these are places that I don't think many people are going to be rushing in for a while at
True.
least.
True. I think I agree with you, but my wife is working out on Zoom with her trainer. So that's one option.
Yeah, yeah,
The
that's
second
an
is
option.
in Ayurveda, you have this balan with pokey things which you put under your feet, right? So take
Yes.
that balan and get to work on your calves, your thighs, your bum, your hips. And for your back, call your husband and get him to do that for you. So I think these are small things that you can do for blood circulation. Really work well in
Yeah.
terms of getting a youthful glow back to you.
Okay, there is somebody who wants to know actually, because this is a topical, COVID is a topical topic right now. What is the best diet for a patient? So I presume this is somebody who's asymptomatic but has been diagnosed to be COVID positive.
Okay, so I had quite a few of my personal clients test positive in Bangalore. In fact, I have a counseling right now at around 6:30. I'm talking to a lady who just recovered from the COVID. She went through it. She didn't have to check into the hospital, but had all the symptoms and everything. But she just recovered really well. Number one, will not have an appetite. You will have headache. You may have loose motions. You may have loss of smell. You'll feel extremely tired and weak. Soup, bowls of soup, because you can drink soup and you can confuse your stomach before it says I don't want to eat any food. High protein based soups. So if you're non-vegetarian, soups that are made from meat broths. If you're vegetarian, if I can convince you to have an egg broken into that veg soup, please do that. If you're pure vegetarian, then maybe a paneer based soup, or your mulitawani or your broccoli based soups. These are really good because you crush up those ingredients, you're putting haldi, you're putting pepper in it, that goes into your body. Number one. In terms of supplements, you want to be looking at
Can I
vitamin.
interrupt for a minute, Brian? Ryan, one
Yes.
minute. Now we're talking about soups. I know the best is to make fresh soup. What about the packet soups?
Oh, packet is like,
Okay,
I don't know how to give you a compare. Packet is auto rickshaw and homemade is Rolls Royce.
okay, we got the point. All right.
Yeah, so
So for
the
folks who
packet
are
soup is
listening,
absolutely not good enough.
packet soups are a no-no.
Yeah.
If you can make
Though,
fresh soup, that's the best.
yeah, so if you want to cheat a little bit, then what you do is you make fresh, and then for that taste to come in, you can put a tablespoon of the packet soup powder on that to make it pop.
Okay,
Okay, so that's me being compromising with you in terms of, oh, but homemade soup doesn't taste that good.
okay. So
But
one is soup.
uh,
Next,
one is the soup. So then I go into the fruit department. Pomegranate, really amazing. Okay. It's the mango season. If you feel like eating mango, forget the weight gain. If you're a COVID patient right now, eat a mango or two. It will lift your spirits. And I think your own immune system will be saying, hey, listen, man, we got some nice carbohydrate energy. We can fight this COVID guy in our body. So, feel good factor. Eat a fruit or a vegetable that you really love. I think people are forgetting the power of positivity to your towards your immune system boosting itself. Okay, so fruits for me, number one is pomegranate, kiwi, guava. Guava's gone out of season, but if you can get guava, just eat one or two guavas every day. It's one of the most powerful. And if you remember earlier, I talked about amla. Amla
mm.
juice, amla powder, amla chavan prash, get that into you. There's an amino acid called glutamine. So I've been recommending glutamine. It makes up 60% of skeletal muscle. It also works to enhancing the immune system. So I do 1 teaspoon of glutamine in orange juice. Why orange juice? When you prepare orange juice, you prepare 4 or 5 oranges. You drink that, you're getting the vitamin C of 4 oranges. You're getting my glutamine along with it. And the oranges basically give you the sugar and the energy in terms of, you're very tired, you're very lethargic, you don't have the energy. It gives you a bump me up. So if I could do one orange juice in a day, one pomegranate. Why do I say juice, doc? Although I'm
Yeah.
against juices because it makes people gain weight. When you're sick, you
Hmm.
don't feel like masticating or chewing because it sends satiety signals to the brain, and your brain is already overheated in a fever condition. So you don't feel like eating, which is why in our hospitals we tend to make gruels and give people, or we put the RT tube, the rice tube, rice feeding tube up people's nose and then put liquid into them because they don't have the appetite to chew or
Hmm.
swallow or digest. So that's a cheat mechanism, which is in terms of giving vegetable juices, vegetable soups, or fruit juices to get calories in you to you for beating the infection. In UK, the protocol that I heard from one of my friends who's a doctor over there is they're using a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin D, an amino acid called N-acetylcysteine, which is a supplement which is actually found in your broccoli and your cucumber, not cucumber, broccoli and your cabbage, all sulfur-based foods. N-acetylcysteine is a mucolytic. It helps dissolve the mucus in your lungs. And in
Hmm.
athletic performance, I use N-acetylcysteine in before the Olympics to prevent the athletes from uh, c- um, being susceptible to the influenza virus, because it prevents the replication of the virus. It prevents the virus from attaching to a cell and replicating. So N-acetylcysteine, glutathione. They're giving
Is
copious.
it available? What form is it available here?
It's
It's
available in
and
capsule form. You go online and just say N-acetylcysteine, you get it. And the good part about this, these are supplements. So, even if you take 3 or 4, you're not going to have a side effect unless you have an allergy to sulfur-based compounds. So
Okay.
again, I'm giving a lot of this advice free online because I know there are a lot of people, there are millions of people out there suffering. I do believe it really works. The doctors know about it. If you go to any hospital, they're feeding people well, they're giving them supplements. So if you're asymptomatic or you feel you're in a red light, a red COVID area or whatever it is, these are things that you can do to jumpstart. The only
Okay.
caution is I would not give this to under 14 years of age, because you want to be working with somebody before you risk giving a glutamine, a vitamin C or vitamin D, because the children's liver and kidneys are not yet fully formed. So you don't want to overdose. In an
Hmm.
adult, you can overdose. Nothing's going to happen to you,
Right.
for about 4 or 5 days of taking a good quantity if you feel you've got the cough, cold, or fever. And I think positivity works a lot. I'm missing out. I would also do a turmeric capsule, and I would also probably do crushed garlic in my diet or my soup. I would do ginger. The Chinese came up with a post saying black tea because of the high polyphenols, and there are 5 6 research papers on polyphenols in vitro conditions on viral replication and viral destruction. So they say polyphenols really work well. So high content of polyphenols are found in red wine and in black tea. Don't drink wine during this infection period. Drink your black tea. So that's my second black tea cup of the day. So I'm just having black tea. And if you have black tea, there's no milk, there's no sugar, so no weight gain.
But black tea, they say, contains caffeine,
Tannins. See,
tannins.
caffeine. So again, black tea has caffeine. Black coffee has caffeine. Black coffee has a high amount of caffeine. Black tea
Hmm.
has about 40 milligrams of caffeine. If you're caffeine sensitive, again, the genetic test in our clinic will tell whether you're caffeine sensitive, your liver metabolizes caffeine or not. So, as per that, people who are caffeine metabolizers, they can drink caffeine and they most likely will not have an issue from sleep or even stroke or heart attack. But those who
Hmm.
are not metabolizers should avoid caffeine to the best of their ability. So, whilst they talk about caffeine and coffee and tea being good, again, there are responders and non-responders. So we have gone to the level of saying, are you a responder, not a responder? In the COVID times, I don't think caffeine is going to be detrimental to a person. The benefit of the polyphenols, I believe personally, would outweigh the detriments of caffeine.
Okay. Okay. Now, this question has come up the second time. Given this lockdown, many people are stressed and feeling tense, getting cabin fever or worried about work, often resorting to emotional eating and snacking at the wrong time. How does one avoid emotional eating?
Number one, make sure your fridge is not stocked with Maggie noodles and crap. So
Very good
then
one.
if
Good
it
point.
if it's like saying no, oh, I have got a killer tendency, I can kill people, I'm not going to keep a knife in my house and not going to keep a gun in my house. No. So think about it from that perspective. Number one. So Second thing, make a shopping list that's healthy. Stock your fridge with stuff that is healthy. Don't know what's healthy? Go to a nutritionist, say, build my shopping list such that there's no junk in my kitchen. Third, I need comfort foods. There are a lot of healthy comfort foods. My comfort food is ragi laddu. And lady makes this
Okay.
beautiful ragu laddu and she makes it with sugar, but she makes it really tiny for me. So I can have one or two of those. So figure out your strategy. The problem over here is everyone cries out saying that I have this problem, but then they are not doing something about it, because food is so personal to your upbringing and your life and the way you think and feel. So when somebody external comes and wants to change it, you're like, this is my food. This is the way I'm born. This is the way I eat. This is the way I can't accept it. But at the same time, you're crying, oh, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to eat that. And you got to help yourself by first asking for help in terms of your diet and not stocking your fridge with stuff. I think that's the best advice that I could give to a person trying to not eat in this time. And make water your best friend. I have realized if you keep sipping on water, you keep hunger at bay. You keep hunger at bay. Just keep sipping water. So I try to do about 2 jugs a day because I'm a poor water drinker. I don't know how many of you on the live over here are poor water drinkers. I'm one of those poor water drinkers. So when you are not drinking enough of water, then you want to eat salt or sugar. It's because when you eat salt or sugar, then the body's thing is to drink water. So the body's saying, boss, this guy doesn't drink water. Let's make him have a salt or a sugar craving. So he eats, then he'll drink water. Instead, drink water, you don't get the salt or sugar craving.
Right. What is a lot of us are using flax seeds or chia seeds. How important are they? What is their nutritional value?
So flax seeds are really good in managing blood sugar levels, improving insulin sensitivity, boosting sperm count, boosting estrogen levels. So flaxseed is one of those which has those resins in it, which is an all-rounder. I'd rather do a flaxseed extract than a flaxseed per se, because you have to eat at least 10 to 20 grams of flaxseed a day, which is a huge amount and very difficult, and sometimes it creates gastric discomfort. But it is good. The omegas in it are really, really good. Chia seeds are basically high in omega 3. I use it in a lot of my athletes. I tell my athletes buy white chia seeds because in India they're doing adulteration with mustard seeds for black chia seeds, because you're paying 3 or 4 times on cost of say normal sabza seeds or tukmaria seeds, and chia seeds are only from South America. So people are being cheated because you can't see the quality. So I say buy white chia seeds. That way you can't get conned into it. In terms of buying the wrong thing, chia very very good, holds 11 times its weight in water. So if you're like having cravings and all, chia seed pudding, chocolate powder, add it on top, tablespoon of jaggery, beat it up, hot milk into that, put in the fridge. It forms a chia seed pudding. Recipe is there online on YouTube. Amazing, healthy. The sugar kind of spoils it, but then I've tried it without sugar and it tastes really bad. So we need a little sugar in our life also.
There's there's a very interesting question. Says that, hey Ryan, can you suggest how to have a nutritional cafe which is actually need of the hour to keep the doctors away? We
so
have
so
one
you know
doctor here and one nutritionist there.
So the nutritional cafe, I think, is a concept now. Health is the new wealth. 2020, it'll go forward. But my nutrition clinics have been around for almost 9 years now, and we still struggle to get people to come into our clinic. So I think a health cafe. I, I would say this to Sharik Kuzet. India health loving, no health doing as yet. India health
True.
loving, no health doing. This
Very
is a
true.
Japanese. This is a Japanese guy who met because I was like telling him about Qua nutrition and stuff. Oh, Mr. Fernando, you very good. You Indian, no health loving, no health doing, because we are
Doing.
not doing enough. So the health cafe will open. You will have a few people like Ryan Fernando coming and sitting over there once or twice. But I think generally people will prefer their Andhra biryani, their butter chicken, and their tandoor roti and all that stuff. So if you're doing a nutritional cafe, tie it up to an ancillary business where it is a support structure to that business rather than the key business driver. Because I ran a brand in India called iTiffin. It was providing healthy foods to corporates in Bangalore, and we used to fight with corporates, the big wigs and all of that stuff, who would say, "Oh, sir, your healthy food tray is 129 rupees. If you can give it to us for 130 rupees, for 30 rupees, then we can bring you to to our canteens." And I'm like, okay, fine. So we did some price variations. We came down to 70 rupees. When there, we don't want brown rice. We want only white rice. India health loving, no health doing. It's as simple as that. So it's going to take time to get people to really be health conscious. And I think COVID's like just basically taken out our bamboo and less beaten up all of us on our calves and legs and all. So now we are feeling it. So those who are diabetic, those who are obese, those who have heart problems, guys, ladies, it's a time, it's a wake up call for you to say that the problem lies not in my genes, the problem lies in the way I have been eating all my life. Get
Right.
that corrected. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay, Ryan, one last question before you go. I know you said you had an appointment, and my laptop's running out of battery too. Last question. Now, suppose I want to count the calories I have every day. I don't have an app. I don't want to use an app. Right now, I cannot access a nutritionist. What is the best way of knowing the amount of calories I'm consuming? This
If
is
you want to,
actually refers to a question that was asked very early in the program, and I'm sorry I missed that.
very good question. Buy a table weighing scale, one of the baking scales, put your plate on top of it. Okay, let's take rice. Put rice on it. So let's say you're going to eat 100 grams of rice. Wow, 100 grams of rice looks like this much. Then just go to the internet and type up 100 grams of rice is how much of carb, how much of protein, how much of fat. What you do is, as a person, every day do three foods on your plate. By the time you've finished a month, you've become a nutritionist because you know
Right.
what is the content. And then, like, for example, if I look at a plate, I can tell you in a fraction of a second, not being a nutritionist, because I teach people how to weigh their foods. So I know that 100 grams of mackerel, what does it look like? So like a single medium sized mackerel fish is actually not 100 grams, it's about 140 grams. So then I'm like, okay, this is so many calories. So that the only way is you need a table weighing scale and you need an internet connection to say 100 grams of mackerel, 100 grams of tur dal, 100 grams of cooked white rice, 100 grams of brown rice, 100 grams of cake, 100 grams of jeera, 100 grams of jalebi. You put that in, you'll come to know.
You
Then
get
once you start doing these small things, you can go forward. If you want an ancient way of doing it, there are books in India which is called if National Institute of Nutrition has released it. It's a big book which has all the nutritional values of the foods. You can go through that like a diary and look at each food, and it'll tell you what is the calorie content if you don't have a what you call that computer.
Ryan, I think we have surpassed all records. We are nearly 2 hours into
Thank you so
this
much.
talk.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
viewers coming in and everything.
a lot of questions. Hang on, somebody else has just sent in something. 1 second. Okay. Fabulous session. Conversation has been very insightful. She's so entertaining. I ate close to 1 kilo of lychee watching it.
So
But thank you very much.
whoever's eaten 1 kg of lychee, you need to now do 3 hours of walking.
Okay. That's my daughter. It's coming from my own house. Okay. So Ryan, thank you very much. This was indeed very insightful, a big eye opener. You busted a lot of myths. You gave us a lot of information, and I thank Health Travelers Worldwide again, once again, Nat Health once again. I've already done the vote of thanks when you went off, and we didn't know whether you were coming back again or not. But thank you very much. And on my next visit to Bangalore, I'll call you and I'll come and visit you.
We'll
Okay?
have we'll have a cup of black tea together.
We will have a cup of black tea together. Okay,
All
bye.
right.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Dr.
much.
Gayatri. God bless
Bye.
you. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.